Welcome, champs, to the Simply Successful podcast, your place for breakthroughs in the next level in your personal evolution. Today's episode, I'm recording for you in New York, and this will be, of course, my tribute to the upcoming Olympics, one of my biggest dreams being a youth athlete. And of course, this time around, it will all be again all about breathtaking competitions, nose length wins, and personal or Olympic record breaking. But how can we, you and I, climb the Olymp in our daily ambitious lives? I'll give you my top 5 mindset hacks on how to win every day. Being successful is one of our biggest desires in life. But what does success actually mean, and how can we shift our perspective so we win every day? So, number one, find your definition of success and find one that is actually beneficial and motivating, because success means so much different things for so many different people. And if you know me and follow me for a while now, you know that I'm a big advocate for identity shifts and really making those sustainable breakthroughs by changing our identity. And that means by changing the stories we tell ourselves about us. And everything starts with your definition of success. It depends whatever you think success is and how high you put the bar, or what your perspective of it is. And if you actually feel that you're succeeding in life or that you're failing. So first, I really want you to find your definition of success. And that has a lot to do with your goals in life and your identity and how you want to show up in this world. What is a success? And you need a vision. You need a clear idea of where you want to go and who you want to become. Because if you don't have that, then first of all, you can't find your levels of success. But furthermore, you can't really measure anything. Because if you don't have something to compare your daily actions, habits, and thought processes to, then how are you going to know whether you're successful or not if you don't have anything to measure against? That's why you really need a clear vision, clear goals, but more important than the actual goals, like the outcome, which is just the top of the iceberg, is your system you build on a daily basis with habits, processes, with systems to actually going to make sure you're going to achieve that goal. And to me, building a system in order to change my identity and my habits and my lifestyle, so much so that it is almost becoming a natural part of my day, a natural process, the inevitable outcome. If I follow this system, this is what actually, for example, success is for me, really building a system which I follow of daily tiny micro habits, which lead me automatically by being consistent over a period of time towards my desired outcomes. And that's why really my number one mindset shift on winning every day is defining what is success for you. And how do you want to measure this? Because that's important too. Because if we can check off like a certain box, then it can't feel not as satisfying as we want it to be. Identity is a big part of it. So what is in success identity? So how would it look and feel like if you are already a successful person? the person you want to become? How do you act? How do you feel? With whom do you surround yourself? Where are the places you go? What's the food you eat? What is the things you digest, whether it's like media or books or knowledge or courses or classes? What networks are you joining? What charity work you do? Like really get really precise on the person you want to become and really go down that route to investigate your heart's desires. And once you have your heart's desires and you find out who you want to be, what is the most fulfilling path for you, you think of how a good system could look like to achieve this on a daily basis. You can simply compare your desired reality, the outcome, the desired outcome, the goal, personality, or your ideal identity. You write everything down. What he or she is, what she looks like, what you look like, what you want, you surround yourself with. And you write all this down on the left side, probably of the page. And then on the other side, you write down where you are right now with any judgment because you've done your best so far. And all of us, we're doing the best with what we know to this point in time, space, and reality. And without judgment, just write down where you are right now, considering those aspects, those goals or those desired qualities. And then you just compare both sides and you automatically know what has to change right now, what habit, what maybe addiction, what negative thought process, what overthinking pattern. You know very clearly and precisely on that sheet what needs to change in order to become your ideal version or to become your success, your own personal success. And then you write everything down that needs to change and you go there bit by bit and you go with like really 1% changes. You go with those micro habit changes and all you need then is to be consistent. And one thing that really helped me is from this amazing author from the Atomic Habits. And he says it's absolutely normal to have a bad day, but never fail twice. And this was such a good advice I want to give to you as well. Because yes, you can have a bad day. You can skip one workout. You can skip um one meal and you have a cheat meal, whatever, maybe a cheat day. That's all right. But never skip twice. And that's how you keep up and maintain the system and keep up the winning and the progress. Because we all know that oftentimes we fail once and then we're going to be down that spiral. And then we do it the second day and then we're in a downward spiral and we screw everything we build up so hard. And I don't want that for you. So that's another thing. Define your success, look into it in a worksheet, like how to become that successful version of you, what micro habits you need to adapt, and then stick with the system and never fail twice. And this leads me to the mindset hack number 2. It is commitment. And it is the question you have to ask yourself. And I found that this was really like an epiphany moment for me when I asked myself that question. When not achieving a certain goal or outcome over a period of time, and I found myself self-sabotaging the old cycles and repeating them over and over again. And the question is, are you interested in your goals or are you really committed? And that leads up to what we were just talking about, your definition of success and your identity. Because if you are interested in becoming a person or becoming an identity or reaching a certain goal, then you really think, oh, yeah, that might feel good and I'm interested in it. But you're going to find yourself in that failing spiral. You're going to find yourself not being dedicated enough, not wanting it bad enough to overcome the old habits that come with a certain level of comfort. And this is a problem because if your commitment to your new life, your best version or a better version than we were yesterday, if your commitment isn't strong enough and you remain just interested, you're never gonna achieve it. And that's really, really crucial. So if you have like your definition of success and your master plan of micro habits, then really ask yourself, go step by step. Am I really committed to doing this? Do I really want this bad? Like, do I want this more than my old version, than stick to my old habits, than being comfortable, like in staying in my comfort zone? And if so, you have to rephrase your goals and you have to rephrase the thing. So you have that burning desire. You say, no, F that. I am so sick and tired of repeating the same cycles in a certain area of my life. I'm really committed to the new me. I'm committed to being 1% better every day. And I'm committed to this so much so that I make the commitment that I never fail twice. And this is where you go slow and steady towards your outcomes and towards your desired reality. Because if you do that, follow this system of micro habits and never fail twice, consistency is key, then like success is inevitable. You win every day. Like there's no way around it. So that leads me to number 3, learning forward. I know I've used the word failure because I just don't know of any better word. Well, let's say a learning lesson, probably. But there is actually no such thing as failure. When I'm like consulting in bigger businesses, I really, really love the design thinking approach. And in design thinking, there is no such thing as failure. There's no such thing as a bad idea or an idea that is too far-fetched or too unrealistic. And I want you really to approach that perspective for your own life, that there is no such thing as failure, because every experience you do is serving you a certain lesson and it comes with a certain value. And if we wouldn't, for example, experience jobs, relationships, situations that really make us feel miserable, we would have never known that this path is not for us, because that's how we build as humans. We can overthink scenarios in our heads a million times, but we were never really know. And with knowing, I mean like that deep inner knowing, gut feeling knowing, which is the right path for us. If we're not trying, we learn and grow and evolve over experiencing. And of course, there are certain things like I don't have to experience like the worst things to know that this isn't for me. That's not what I talk about. But really like doing on micro decisions and trying and being like brave enough to do micro decisions, do it quick and just go a couple meters into one direction to then feel into it and lean into it and see if this is really for me. Is it the right way to do? And if not, you switch directions again. And this is actually what leadership is. And no leader in the world, like no person in the world, knows the exact outcome. We all just make great guesses. And this is what true champions do. They do brave, quick micro decisions, and they just give it a shot and just give their best guess. And if they think they're on the wrong path, then they switch and then they go into a better direction. So really make it seem like they always know what they're doing. They're always on the right path. But they're not. They're like all of us in the guessing game. And we just go and learn forward. And no matter what you experience, if you see everything as an experience you can learn from, then a failure that's gonna make you fall back, you win in life. And this is actually one of the biggest qualities that very high performance, successful business person athletes have that people that do average don't have. And it's really to the ability and perspective to see the win in everything that happens in life. And this can be a really tough one, especially when shit really hits the fan and there are things happening in your life that are really, really bad. I know myself. I know it from myself very well how hard and challenging it is. But trust me, if you learn to approach life with this mindset of always learning forward, failing forward isn't really existing because there's no such thing as failure, then you will focus on the win and the gift in every situation and experience. And you know that because I said it a million times, where focus goes, energy flows. And if we want to look out in the world for the wins, then this is what we're predominantly going to start to see everywhere. We see the wins, we see the values, we see the learning lessons, we see what we gain and not what we lose. And that's why this is my number 3 for you on the how to win on a daily basis. Mindset shifts. So, talking about 3 things that are especially about you as an individual, there is one thing I really want to bring back into your guys' attention because I experienced people are getting more and more selfish and self-centered and self-consumed. And this is actually not our human design. Like back then, the caveman didn't survive. Like even we aren't here able to listen to the podcast today and do all the amazing things because we don't need other people, right? Like we just evolved as humans and we evolved to our best versions only in relationship with other humans. And this is why number 4 on how to win on a daily life is I want you to realize that you have to have or build a team. You have to have people with good intentions and heart to team up with to work on the bigger picture because there was always people in teams, in groups, in corporations, in relationships that together evolve themselves and whole society to the next level. And go back then to the caveman. Like no one survived on their own. They, like humans understood very well very early in our development that it is beneficial and we need each other and we need each other's individualities and like personal strengths and talents. And that's why we grouped up in that cave. And there was someone that was good at hunting. There was someone that was good and being there, being observant, and was multitasking with his energy and make sure it's watching out for possible dangers or threat. And there was the nurturing part, and there was the providing part, and there was the everyone had his role and brought his or her talents and strength into the group, which made a great team and which made everyone evolve to their best version and everyone to build a relationship together and build a company that is not just surviving, but thriving. And that is really, if you want to win and you want to win big in life, then team up with people that are on the same mission, that share the same values, and emotionally connect with them, because emotion is energy. Emotion is the most powerful driving force in our lives. And relationship, on the flip side, serve us big time in our own personal development, because relationships always are great mirrors about what is going on inside of us. In relationship, oftentimes shed light on really, really dark spots in ourselves that we may bury or we don't want to see, but are absolutely necessary to bring to light and to evolve into work on. And this is why relationships sometimes can feel like they're hard or painful, but it's actually just a great purpose in that mirroring you back parts of yourself that you didn't want to see, didn't want to feel, but are that you closed off from yourself, but are so necessary to become whole again, to become the best version again, to utilize every potential and resource you have. And in order to become your best version, in order to become a winner on a daily life, you need to tap into your full potential. And it means you need to open up all parts of you, and you need to unlock all parts of you to make a beautiful symphony out of all of this in order to thrive. And we only actually can do this in relationships. That's why I want you to really intentionally team up with people and build a really powerful team and ally with other person on the same journey. And number 5, like a really interesting mindset shift I want you to consider is your own standards and boundaries. Because what I figured out over the course of my life so far is that we get in life what we tolerate. That means if you don't have your standards defined to a certain level, then people always try to penetrate your boundaries, always try to find out how far they can go with you. And this is why it is so important to stay firm in your standards and boundaries and stay firm in your system, your daily habits, your path, your values. This is such a big timer. Like if you don't know what your standard is on yourself to begin with, like the standard for the love that you give yourself, the respect you give yourself, the trust you give yourself, the standard on how you want to treat yourself, so that reflects on how others should treat you. If you don't have defined those standards for yourself and you're going firm but kind and gentle boundary with that, then it really is going to affect how you feel on a daily basis. And it's really going to affect whether you are able to live your successful life, to stick up with routines, with your system and with your micro habits or not. Because if we don't stand firm in our standards, we get what we tolerate. And if we don't hold firm boundaries, people will always try to invade the boundaries, try to hold us back, try to test how bad our commitment is to the new version of ourselves. Because when we decide to grow out of a certain or level out of a certain circle or comfort zone, there is always people around that get offended by us because we reflect on them or we trigger them with their own inability to live up to their greatest potential. And we show them that there's actually more to life. We show them when we want to evolve and we want more for ourselves, that this is possible. And so we confront them with their own mediocrity in a way. And people, of course, don't like that. They're always going to fight the comfort zone. They're always going to fight to be in the status quo. And that's what you probably experienced a lot too. When you maybe quit drinking or you follow a certain diet, then people start acting weird. They start like trying to talk you out of it. They start like trying to convince you, oh, hey, come on, like don't be so stiff. It's just today. It's just a party. It's just the holidays. You can stick with it later. You will see that people really try to test your commitment and really try to hold you back in their status quo so you're not longer triggering them and triggering maybe a part of them that feels guilty for not living up to their highest potential too. So this is really, really a big one, is holding firm boundaries. And there is a way to it too. I'm going to link you an amazing book and podcast to the whole science around boundaries and how to do it, because I know for myself, and I know a lot of clients of mine really struggling with this one. So to recap my 5 mindset hacks on how to win in life, I want you to find your own definition of success. Find your own success identity that is beneficial and motivating. And build a system around this, that a system of micro habits going to allow you to inevitably thrive towards success when just becoming 1% better every day. And really commit to this, not just being interested, but really commit to it with the never fail twice method, and you're going to find yourself winning every day. Recap, as well as if things not go according to the plan, which happens in this thing called life, then try to approach it from now with the perspective on learning forward. Really challenge yourself to see every day the blessings in the experience you make. See the gift, see the learning forward, see what value it brings, what new perspective it brings, how it enriches your life on a daily basis. And remember yourself, you're not going to be alone in this. That's why it is so important to build a team of people, to team up, to build networks, to build alliances, to join certain groups that are on the same mission, to really enrich you and like hype you up on your new journey and on your mission towards a desired life and outcome. On that journey, being on that journey, there will be obstacles and there will be people trying to test your commitment. And that's why I want you to really define your standards on how you want to approach life for yourself and how you want to be treated by others. And recap those firm boundaries connected to those strong core values and stick with it when people try to test you and try to talk you out of it. So I hope you doing amazing with all of those tips. Try the worksheet, work yourself through it. I want you to enjoy your summer, enjoy the championships, enjoy the Olympics, and enjoy yourself because you are the born winner. I want you to always remember that.